I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now call the regular city council meeting to order, and I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second? Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Public forum limited to agenda items only. Does anyone wish to address the agenda item? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second? Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion from the council?
Yes, I have two questions. The transmission that was replaced, what was that for, Roger?
It's on the, E4, it's the bucket truck that has the outriggers. The transmission, when they had the clutches in it, it wouldn't develop enough pressure to run the hydraulics.
Okay, you're saying the bucket truck then?
Yeah.
Okay.
The old one.
Yeah,
Okay,
not the one that we leased.
and then I noticed that we have, $872 for t-shirts and sweatshirts. What's that for?
That's for the September 11th, K-9 fundraiser.
Okay,
Run.
all right, thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Number 6, renewal of audit engagement letter. Tiffany?
In our packets, we have a renewal letter from Swindle, Jansen, Hawk and Lloyd. Currently, our audit service agreement with them has expired. They audited year 2020, and then after that, it expired because that was the length of that current agreement. So they have provided us with a new agreement, and it would be my recommendation to approve that.
Okay. Any questions of the council?
Tiffany, does this lock us in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Yes.
Any further questions?
They've been pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'll move that we renew the audit engagement letter.
I
I hear a second?
I second.
Move and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Number 7, industrial park lot proposal for RV storage. Mark Evans and Ashley Unruh.
I came here a few meetings ago and we had proposed to buy, section 2, lot 1, lot that after talking to Margot and Randy, with all of the, easements and a lot of the lot was not usable. And so, after talking to them, we would like to propose to purchase section 1, lot 6, for our RV and boat storage. And I did a sketch for you to look through. It had 4 buildings with 12 stalls in each of pull-through RV and boat storage. And we would like to propose to buy it for $17,000. And Randy and Margot had suggested that we offer 70% of the lot price, which is $24,800.
Is this right across from Carter's Oil? It used to be Carter's Oil. Across the street.
It's across the street from Airstream Guy,
Right,
between Spur Ridge and John Deere.
yeah, okay.
And this would be contingent upon the zoning being approved for having not completely enclosed storage, since a lot of the different lots aren't following that right now anyways.
Okay. Margot, you guys are gonna look at that and then give us a recommendation, or are you ready to?
Well, there's some zoning things that need to happen,
Okay,
so, I don't know how much of that you want me to get into. I brought it up a little bit at our meeting, and was a little bit distracted by the proposed retail stuff out there, but, I wrote up a short thing today, just in case. There are some non-compliant issues currently, and how the planning commission decides to handle these challenges will determine our path forward. The idea of proposing a general commercial overlay is to clean up the non-compliant properties and allow future projects to proceed, such as this.
okay.
So,
So the zoning board be bringing that back to us as a recommendation, when you figure it all out?
yeah, because, the way they wanna do it, we would need to do some changes out there in order to allow them to not have a completely enclosed building.
Okay,
That's the hiccup, so.
okay.
And wouldn't that just match what's already out there? It's just, there's a 3-sided storage building now.
Across the road,
Yeah,
it's also needing to be brought back into where it should be.
Okay,
So we've got some things,
Which one is that, Margot? The three-sided?
that's the one that's to the west of the hardware store,
Okay, that's in the business park.
right? But it's
Industrial
in 2 different zones,
park. Okay, but they're asking for industrial park. Is
right?
that correct? Okay. Different rules.
okay, why don't you and Randy get together and make a recommendation to the council for the next meeting? Is that soon enough for you?
Zoning doesn't meet till the 28th.
Okay, so, the meeting after that, that'd be fine. That's okay with you? Alright. What's the date of that meeting? Rhonda?
Be the 4th.
Okay. So we'll come back at that meeting and make a decision.
Okay, alright, thank you.
Alright, thank you. Number 8, October 30th street dance proposal. Josie?
Hi guys,
Hi.
I think we found a date that works for the community, and the band to actually put on something downtown. We're looking at October 30th. Margot, Clinton, and I are gonna meet tomorrow to kind of figure out where the road block barricades need to be.
Yeah.
So we can give you an updated map of that if needed. And then we're gonna ask that you approve to have 2 beer gardens this year. One out in front of my store, and then potentially one in front of the Mexican restaurant. They would like to serve dinner outside while the band is playing and allow people to have a drink outside while they sit. We can enclose both areas like we did last year, or the last dance. We can social distance people a little better that way too.
I did get preliminary okay from KDOT, but I need to officially send a letter with specific details.
So
And
you'll get back with us on that?
Yeah, we just figured we would start here, for the date, and then if you guys were okay with it, we would proceed as far as getting all the rest of the details hammered down.
Yeah, I think the only issue would be the beer garden, right there. As far as KDOT and us, how do we handle that?
We take care of the, CMB license necessary for it. It'll be a resolution, an abstract, as an ordinance or resolution.
Well, you would have to apply for the CMB license. Are you wanting it under your business?
Would that be a step up from what we have currently at the shop?
We'd have to just, I'd have to go back and look.
Look at it?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah, we were able to accomplish it at the last
Yeah,
street dance, and
Right.
we just had to pass, and I'll have to check, I believe it was a resolution granting a special event permit, and it defined hours of operation and location. And that's what we would have to do moving forward. And tonight, Josie's just wanting, before she goes on with any more planning, to lock down that this council is supportive of the idea on.
Yeah.
on the 30th.
Right. I'm curious about insurance. Is there any requirement for the city to have to have insurance for approving something like this? Or would they individually be required insurance?
Whoever has the event has to have
The
the
insurance.
insurance.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good thing. You know, it was very successful last year. Was it last year or the year before?
It was the year before.
Yeah, year before.
Yeah, we're ready to do all the things again. Believe me,
You never
we
trouble
love
with
doing
them.
all of the things.
Is October 30th gonna be kinda cold for the fire truck to come down?
We're not gonna do the fire trucks this year, but
Okay.
in lieu of that, I figured we could do like a pumpkin carving, contest, or we could organize trunk or treat, or, I mean, we can do some really fun things for fall and incorporate that with downtown. We just wanna get people moving downtown, and we wanna get people taking pictures of downtown and different businesses, and,
Okay.
I think it'll be just a fun fall festival.
Do they need a motion tonight, Roger, or just give them the information to move forward and check with Tiffany?
A motion of support would be appreciated, that way it's on record.
And I move to approve the October 30th street dance proposal. There a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say the sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank
And
you.
just get with Tiffany about this. or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, we've kind of been back and forth already, so we'll get it worked out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Number 9, update on KMET Health Insurance Initiative. Roger?
Kansas Municipal Insurance Trust is the organization that's a group of cities that have gone together to self-fund workers' compensation. As they were looking at the industry, one of the largest increases that all municipalities face, and those cities under 50 employees face a larger challenge as far as medical insurance for our employees. So we've been working on the task force, trying to define, is there enough interest, will the group be large enough to be beneficial? And we're to the point that all of those questions have been answered affirmatively. So we're going to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, which is the largest health insurance provider in the state. And we're getting the rates by October 1st on what it would be for municipalities to join. The target was to have a group that had at least 500 employees. There's over 3,500 that have expressed interest in participating in it. So by October 1st, we should have the rates for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Tiffany and I will do the comparison to what our existing plans are. This may also give us, at the same current cost to the city, be able to add vision to the plan. That's one of the things they're looking at within this group. Biggest advantage for our city, being under 50 employees, we never see claims history or any of the rating information that's used. We're just told that we're part of a group, and this is how much it's gonna increase each year. If we join this and participate moving forward, we would then have access to claims, and just like the Kansas Municipal Insurance Trust does for workers' compensation, they provide training on safety at no cost to us, and they come in and do audits and help educate our team. They're envisioning under the medical insurance, they would also be able to do that. And with the larger buying power, we should be able to improve our costs on medication.
Right.
So there will be an upcoming, it's gonna be a Zoom meeting on the 22nd, where Don Olsenbaugh will present the program to all of the cities that are interested. And again, right now we have over 50 small cities and there's 13 large cities that have expressed interest in doing this. So I just wanted to give you an update. This is something we've been working on since May. And finally getting to the point we'll get numbers and know what the future could hold for us.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm a little bit concerned about it. This is the health insurance we're talking about?
Correct.
Okay, with this virus going around, boy, it could wipe us out in a hurry.
That's why it's with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And it'll be the same exposure that we've had throughout the pandemic. So we're not increasing our exposure or risk, but we're getting a larger group to be able to give us better bargaining power on the rates.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you. Number 10, legal counsel follow-up on Counselor Herbal's concern of August 23rd. Susan?
Yeah, so at the last meeting, Ruth had some concerns about the industrial park and what right the city had to do with it as we wanted. So, she was kind enough to give me the email that she got from Mr. Goodyear, from the League of Municipalities, and I reached out to him, and, he was under the impression that the city had been given this land. So I did some research and went back and checked, and I found in the minutes back in 1999 where the city was in negotiations and actually ended up purchasing this land from Dean and Betty Bott. So back in 1999, the city purchased the land from the Botts, so we were not given the land, we purchased it, the city did. And then it was annexed into the city, from the county about right after that, and then, the city had it platted, had a plat then for the industrial park. So in looking, I spoke with him again, and in speaking with him, the statutes that were referenced last time talk about land that has been given to the city for a public purpose, or by the county. County gives land to the city for a public purpose. So that is not the case in this, because the city purchased this land. The city already has, in the statute it references fee absolute title. The city has fee absolute title already because we own the land. And I went on there's a league serve where you can put out questions to other city attorneys. And so I reached out and asked if they kind of agreed with me. I explained the situation. They did. Now, there is a dedication for public purposes, but because the city owns the land, the city has the ability, and other cities said they have done this, they go in and they have the ability to vacate those dedications, like you vacate a street, or we can go in and change it by amending the plat, if that's what you choose to do. But there are options that allow the city to make changes out there if that is what the city chooses to do so. So I just wanted to clarify that the city does have the ability to do these things. We are not prohibited from statute. There are dedications on here, but we can go in and, if the city chooses to vacate those dedications, or we can go in and replat it. You know, one of the dedications that's on here talks about that there's going to be it's going to be maintained by an owners association to be formed within the Bott Industrial Park Edition, and that's never been done. So that's something you might just all want to think about taking care of, just because that's never been done, or else we need to get started on that. So that was just the information I wanted to provide to the city council.
This owners association referred to that owners of property within the industrial park currently?
It just says, the dedication says, reserves A, B, and C shall be owned and maintained by an owners association to be formed within Bott Industrial Park Edition. So I think that is something that the owners, with the city being one of the predominant owners, could set up and take care of, or if you chose to vacate that portion of the dedication, you could do that as well.
Okay. Councilor Herbal, what information did you give this attorney from the league?
Just actually,
For him to determine that we were allowed to do that?
let me get the email. Actually, I might be.
I mean, is it the statute 12-406A?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it plainly states that fees to certain land held by county transferred to city. The county has never given us any land. And I
Yeah.
think we're all aware of that.
Are you sure that they didn't control this until this statute went into place where the county transferred it to the city? It was my understanding that they controlled everything that was in a reserve.
The county has never owned that land. They have never, ever owned that land. We bought it from Dean Bach.
That I know.
You agree with that?
Then how did you determine that the county transferred that land to the city?
By state statute. Because at
By
one
what
time-
state statute?
Because at one time, when these plats were filed, all reserve land the county owned.
Yeah, that's in our Bott Industrial Park. We own that land. We have owned it since 1999. So how did you determine that the county owned that land when we own it? We've got a deed on it, is that correct?
Yeah, the deed was filed on June 1st of 1999, and when I go back and look at the minutes, they're discussing in April 19th of 1999, when the city entered into negotiations with Dean and Betty Bott to purchase the land. Now, there might be other places where the county gives land to a city for public purposes, but that's not what happened in this case.
Right.
My research has shown, so.
See, this is exactly why, when you receive information like this, you need to share it with the city attorney before you bring it before the council. Because this has caused a lot of controversy on Facebook and everywhere else.
Okay, let's just back up then. Why wasn't this sent to the planning and zoning board before anything was acted?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about you contacting the attorney for the lead and giving them information that the county transferred this land to the city, which is not true. Never was true.
Well, the way I read the statute, it implied that the county transferred this to the city.
I can understand how you may read a statute and interpret it that way, but again, this needs to be given to our city attorney. That's what we pay her for.
Okay, Dave, I received this 4 hours before because you guys are trying to shove it down everybody's throat to get rid of this and sell it to the Dollar Tree. So I reached out to the League of Municipalities asking the question. And I can't find the email that I got back, but he simply stated exactly what I said.
Okay? You could have shared that at noon when you received that email with the city attorney before the council meeting.
Well, this goes back to not having openness in the city.
I don't know what
Okay.
you're talking about there.
Okay.
We've been very open about this. You know, they give us petitions that they've had signed, and we gave every one of them to the company that was wanting to purchase that land. We've been very open about it.
Okay, what about Dollar General?
What about Dollar General?
What have we heard from Dollar General on the covenants?
They sent me a letter and asked a question about, in regards to the covenant that you brought before the council, that you didn't give the city attorney to do research on, and found out that was completely false. That they have a covenant in section 1, and the section 1 we were talking to this company about was in section 3. That covenant had absolutely nothing to do with section 3, only section 1, for
Okay.
Dollar General.
So
And
we're,
again, that's information that should have been given to the city attorney so she could have researched it. When she did her research, she said, doesn't apply.
In section 1, only around out front?
Yeah.
Okay, only section 1.
Right. She said, the old Cardi oil place and all that is in section 3.
Okay.
And then section 2 is down where they were wanting to go. But everything across the street from them is section 1. And that's the only information that the covenant, referred to. answered them the letter back and told them, you need to read it, because this does not include the entire industrial park, it only includes section 1.
And we haven't heard anything else from them?
Nope. They evidently agreed with us, because they haven't written me anything back. Have you received anything, Roger, from them?
No, sir, no communications with Dollar General.
I mean, I don't mind, information coming to this council, but not before our city attorney has the opportunity to look at it, before we put it all over the press and everywhere else. When, in fact, what this states has absolutely nothing to do with, we can't sell that land. We can't. It belongs to us, never belonged to the county.
Your city attorney would have done the same thing I did, and that was called the League of Municipalities. She just sit here and admitted that she called the League of Municipalities.
And she came back with a totally separate answer to what you got. Did your email from the attorney in the League of Municipalities, did he state that we absolutely could not sell that land?
Do you have a copy of that, Susan?
Yeah, I do.
Just read it, would you please?
Sure. It says, I am sending this email in response to the contact form that you submitted earlier today, and that you asked whether the city could sell property reserved in its plat for a specific purpose. The quick and easy answer is that no, the city cannot. The land is transferred to the city and dedicated in the plat for a specific public purpose. The land must be used for that purpose and no other purpose. The city cannot at their discretion use the land for another public purpose or sell the land. And then he says, see the statute numbers that he put. My advice to you and the city is to have your attorney take a look at the plat as it is recorded and the initial transfer and reservation to make sure that this is the case. If so, and the land was reserved for a specific public purpose, when the land is transferred, then the city will need to seek legislative action from the state legislature in order to deviate from that purpose. Hopefully this helps to clear some things up. Please let me know if I can help you with anything else. Thank you, John Goodyear. The issue is, though, that when I talked to Mr. Goodyear, he was under the impression that the land was given to the city by somebody for a specific public purpose or by the county for a public purpose. But that's why these statutes do not apply. They do not apply because the city purchased the property. The city owns the property. When I read the statutes that it talks about the fact that if the city does not use that property for that specific public purpose, then we do not have fee simple absolute ownership. But the city has fee simple absolute ownership because we purchased it. We don't lose it because we don't use it for this public purpose. We purchased the land. It wasn't given to us to use for a reserve, we bought it. So we bought it. Now granted, we made dedications that would need to be changed if the city decides